Today, bringing Wi-Fi and cellular together into an aggregated gapless service fabric. My guest today is Brad Bush of Carnegie Technologies. Carnegie is right now, as far as I know, the only vendor out there with a solution for precisely that. Join us for all the details right after this short message. All right, welcome back, everyone. My name is Claus Hetting, and I'm the host of Wi-Fi Now TV. This, of course, is the interview program that brings you all the great stories and not least all the great people from across the Wi-Fi industry, I should say. So today we'll be talking about one of my favorite topics, and that's bringing Wi-Fi and cellular together into a consistent service with no gaps and no dropped voice or data calls. And all of that sounds easy, doesn't it? But it's actually very hard. And as far as I know, Carnegie Technologies is the only vendor out there today with a solution for exactly that. So we'll ask my guest, Brad Bush from Carnegie, all about this. I'll ask him to get us all the details on that in just a moment. So meanwhile, here's a very important announcement for all of you Wi-Fi fans out there. This fall, Wi-Fi Now the Expo and Conference, we're going to The Hague in the Netherlands, and for the first time, we'll be taking Wi-Fi Now to Asia, specifically to the exciting city of Bangkok. We'll have lots more details to share with you on that soon over the next month or two. And of course, these will be two great Wi-Fi industry events as always. And for news and updates, go to wifinowevents.com/Europe or wifinowevents.com/APAC and register today to get all the news and updates for that. And if you have any questions, drop me a line at klaus@wifinowevents.com. Always happy to hear from you viewers out there. So today my guest is Brad Bush, Chief Strategy Officer and Chief of Staff, very nice title, at Carnegie Technologies. Brad, welcome to Wi-Fi Now. Good to see you.
It's great to talk to you, Klaus. I'm so glad to be here.
Excellent. So, Brad, we've got a whole bunch of questions to you on this topic that probably not so many people out there know very much about because it's specialized, it's fairly new. But just before we go into the details, can you take us through what Carnegie Technologies is about? Give us the 1-minute brief on that.
Absolutely. Carnegie Technologies is a company that's really focused on creating connectivity and enhanced connectivity across all different platforms. Today, we're going to talk about our network convergence platform, but we're also in satellite technology and Internet of Things. So we're actually trying to play in all areas where people and things are connecting. And as you said, the network convergence platform that we're going to talk about today is especially exciting because it's something that people have been trying to do, bonding multiple networks together and switching and moving around multiple networks, and they really haven't had a secret sauce, and we think we have the secret sauce for that.
Very good, and you need to give us an update on all of that because we had Kurt Bauer from Carnegie here, I think it was in October last year. It's a while ago where we talked about some of this, but I know there have been significant advancements from your side on the solution, on what you provide. So tell us a little bit about where it stands right now and give us some of the details because I'm pretty sure most of our viewers are not familiar with what it is that we're trying to do here.
Absolutely. When Kurt was on last year, he talked about the core product, which is really 4 different areas. It includes handover, which is being able to seamlessly move a call or data connection from one network to another. So from Wi-Fi to wireless. That's one, handover. Aggregation is the second one. That's the ability to put 2 streams of data or calls together, and then you can basically get a better performance or better quality through that. The third one is connection management, deciding which of the paths is the best and measuring quality. And the fourth is analytics, which is actually coming back and figuring out what the measurements were and doing more on the back end and just solve the problems on the front end. So we actually have all 4 of those products, and Kurt talked about all of those. What we've done in the last few months and are continuing to do is move those products from core applications that have servers and and sit in purpose-built applications to a full SDK kit. So with the SDK kit, we allow network operators and application providers to write their own applications to use these technologies. And that makes it much more possible for these technologies to be used in unique ways to move network traffic through the different networks. Because if you can write your network traffic behavior to use these different technologies, then you can actually optimize the traffic.
Mm-hmm. Let me backtrack just a little bit. I do want to ask you much more about the SDK, but in principle, this concept of bringing cellular and Wi-Fi together has been very hard to do without dropping calls or having gaps in the user experiences. So this is one of the big pain points that you have actually fixed, right? And adding to that now, and correct me if I'm wrong, adding to that now, you're not just only have the handoff sorted out so that any service provider, in fact, it could be a cellular operator, it could be an MVNO or anybody really that provides a wireless service, now can combine whatever Wi-Fi network is there with their cellular service. So it's both aggregated and people won't know if they're on Wi-Fi and cellular in principle, right, for the service that they're using. Is that correctly understood?
That's absolutely true. So the bandwidth aggregation, we think, is one of the most innovative and interesting uses of the same technology, because it is a lot of the same technology that decides just on gapless handover which network to pick. Instead of just doing this seamless handoff, what we've now done is take the two and put it together. And that was what we really launched last year in bandwidth aggregation, which is flow-based bandwidth aggregation. It basically says, okay, this flow came in from, it's a call, we'll put it on this network. Then this other data stream came in, okay, well, this is the least congested network now, we'll put it on this network. Mm-hmm. So that allows the networks to be used in a fairly optimal way and is a very good solution for some types of network traffic. But what we've developed now and is rolling out and is under final development and testing is a packet-based view of that. So actually for each packet, it will actually decide which is the most optimal network and put it through the most optimal network based on that particular packet at that particular moment. And so we really feel like that this is a possibility for certain applications really changing. And this is applications that are really bandwidth heavy, video, high data type applications. This packet-based switching will allow you to, inside of that single stream, move that stream from network to network as the network quality moves up and down.
Mm-hmm. So essentially, if you're a user, this will allow you to make use of whatever happens to be the most useful, so to speak, connection or environment that you're in, also given constraints that are put in the system by the service provider that's serving you, right? I mean, that's the idea, right?
Absolutely. It's going to be both on the network provider or the service provider side and the user side. So the network provider might set, let's just say, a video stream, like a 4K stream. Maybe it's 15 megabits per second will meet that stream. Well, if the Wi-Fi serving that don't give them any LTE bandwidth, there's no reason to use LTE bandwidth. But maybe the user can set certain parameters that they want to set on their own side, and the two together will set the final configuration for how the packets and flows move through the aggregated system. So we really feel like this is some cutting edge technology that's going to let us use these networks. What it is what we're trying to do is figure out how to use the networks we already have. The bandwidth is, as we all know, is highly constrained, and we're moving more and more data across all these networks. So our goal is to try and figure out the networks that we have. How can we optimize those to use more and more capacity of the networks that are there during the time allotments that are there to send the data? That's the goal.
Well, you've certainly done a tremendous amount of work on this since I spoke to you last. It's very impressive. Let me ask you a little bit about the SDK, because now that you've decided to go that route, so to speak, anybody essentially with a presence on the device, and this does not necessarily have to be the carrier. This could also be any number of other players out there that with the device presence could essentially make use of your technology, your platform, right?
It's absolutely true. So the SDK allows any actually application provider, even the handset provider, to enable these types of technologies directly in their firmware or software to be able to do either. Right now, we've got the SDK released for gapless handover, and we're working on the SDK for bandwidth aggregation. So right now, you could, let's just say you have an over-the-top client, you could embed the SDK for gapless handover into that over-the-top client, and then that client, if you have a roaming agreement, could roam onto the LTE network and the Wi-Fi and back and forth. And so you would, you could be a little mini NVO within inside your app without having to go outside of the application space.
Right. So in theory, at least, this opens up for any number of other kinds of service providers, right? Provided, of course, they can. I mean, Wi-Fi is in a lot of places, and a lot of folks already have access to Wi-Fi, of course, through home and office and whatever other public Wi-Fi networks or the public Wi-Fi networks that they might use. But this kind of also makes me think that it could be used by some big internet companies or Netflix and so on. I know the devil is always in the details, so it's not necessarily a smooth path to exactly that. But in principle, that would be one opportunity, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We see some of the large application providers that this being an absolutely positive type of SDK for them, because being able to use these networks efficiently is something they've been trying to do a long time, especially the bandwidth hungry ones, like some of the ones that you said. You know, if you're a bandwidth hungry application provider, you should be giving us a call, because we have applications that can, SDKs that we can build inside your application with you that can solve a lot of your problems that you've been trying.
So this might actually, you use the word convergence. So this might actually be convergence of access, but in a sense, it's also divergence of, you know, different service players, essentially, right?
It's interesting. You know, all these, what we used to think of 7 layers has, I always said, collapsed into 3, and it's, you know, it was really application and technology and then bearer traffic. You know, there's really maybe 3 now. And those are getting even grayer, as we just talked about. You know,
yes.
I think it's really interesting where we now sit between all these layers of what used to be 7 layers. It's just really unclear who owns what and how it's going to play out in the future.
No, but I agree with you on that. But that's also, you know, the exciting part about what you're doing here is that it does open up for multiple, you know, new players and different business models and different kinds of services from anybody that, you know, is on your device or wants to be on your device. So I'm excited about that. So just tell me a little bit about how this has been received by the market thus far.
Yeah, it's been very well received. You know, we talked to all the different types of companies that we've talked about here, from MNOs to MVNOs to MSOs and to traditional application providers, ISPs, even some non-traditional service providers like satellite providers, where you could, because we've talked about Wi-Fi and LTE here, but you could do it with any type of network. So especially satellite is one of the places where it may be really interesting. And all of those see the technology as something that they need, because again, bandwidth constraint is going to be something that we're going to continue to deal with that, because bandwidth is growing at an exponential rate. It may not be doubling, but it's at an exponential rate. And hardware, which is what all this bearer traffic runs over, cannot double or move at an exponential rate. So we're going to continue to deal with these kinds of problems. We're going to have to solve more of it in software.
And it's one way of doing it, definitely. And I think it's exciting. I definitely hope that somebody will take your technology and run with it, because I'd like to see a brand new way of you know, making use of everything that's out there, essentially, in wireless. And that's what you're doing. So I commend you for doing this. I think it's exciting. Tell us a little bit about what's coming down the pike for Carnegie. Maybe is there something that you
Absolutely. We have, besides the SDKs, besides the SDKs, we have a really great announcement in the connected car space coming up. So look for that in the next few weeks. We'll have, like previewing it here, I can't tell you the name, but we'll have, it's going to be a big name in the connected car space where we are using this exact technology with the connected car. So, and we already have this in several carriers. So it is a proven technology that we're just trying to expand and trying to help more people to get better connected. That's the bottom line.
Yeah. Well, great stuff, Brad, and it's great to have you on the show, and I wish you guys lots of luck, and please keep me posted on all the exciting stuff that's happening at Carnegie. I want to be the first to report it if I can.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Klaus. It's great to be on.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks.
All right, everybody, that's it for this week's show. Thanks to Brad from Carnegie Technologies for joining us. Next week, I will be interviewing the guest Wi-Fi company Turnstile Solutions for the inside story and how to get guest Wi-Fi right. That's it for now. Tune in again next time, and thank you for watching.
Wi-Fi Now is a production of RCR TV News. To suggest a show topic or to learn more about Wi-Fi Now events, you can reach Claus Hetting at klaus@hettingconsulting.com. To find out more about Wi-Fi Now and all things wireless, visit rcrwireless.com.